We are going to go through a song by Styx called Boat on the River. It's one of a small number of really good rock songs from big prominent rock bands, usually in the 70s and 80s, that used mandolin. Mandolin's making a little bit of a comeback. Of course, if you're into bluegrass, it never went away. But with kind of the weird alt folk rock bands coming out of England and Europe, England and other places in Europe, you're hearing more mandolin and banjo, these kind of traditional folk instruments. And believe it or not, Boat on the River is one of the easier songs to play on mandolin. So I'm just going to take you through it. I'm not going to play the whole song. I'm not going to give you a measure by measure breakdown. I'm not even going to look at the solo because most people just want to sit and strum. It's important to remember that Tommy Shaw is not inherently a mandolin player. Tommy Shaw from Styx is a guitarist. He's an excellent guitarist. He plays rhythm lead. He plays slide. He did all the slide work when he was in Damn Yankees with Ted Nugent and Jack Blades. So it helps to think like a guitar player when you're attacking a song on mandolin. The chords are actually pretty simple. The whole song is based around the G minor chord. So a mandolin is tuned backwards from the lowest four strings of a guitar. This is E, this is A, this is D, and this is G. So normally on a guitar you would play a G chord like this, right? So you do it backwards on a mandolin and you play it like this. So the song's not in G though, it's based around G minor. So this is the third, right? There's your B, so you got to drop it one fret, half step, so you drop it to B flat. And there's your G minor chord. Right? So that's the chord that the verse is, a whole song's built around that chord. And he plays it with kind of a shuffly rhythm where you give a bass note and then a little strum on the treble strings. Like... got that kind of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and right. So you got that little shuffle, and that's all that's just keep playing that rhythm throughout the whole song, and you're good. So the chords in the verse, there's only 3 chords in the verse. It's G minor, right? Remember, backwards from a guitar, and then F, which is admittedly a little harder to play on the mandolin than it is on the guitar. You got to get the C up here on the G string at the 5th fret. You play the D string on the 3rd fret, and then you play the E string on the 1st fret. So that's probably the hardest chord to get to in the whole song because pretty much everything else, your hand is on the other direction. You're kind of shunted away from getting your pinky out on that D string. Then the 3rd chord they use in the verse is a D chord, right? So on a mandolin, on a guitar, the D chord is played, the notes are fretted on the G, B, and E strings, high E strings, which of course this doesn't have because it's a mandolin. So what you're basically doing is playing the 1st fretted note on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then you're throwing in an F sharp, as on a guitar it would be your bass note, so it would be a D over F sharp. But on the mandolin, that F sharp brings out the flavor of the D chord. It's the 3rd, right? Now, quick tip, right? If this is the 3rd, that's a D minor. But you're not playing D minor in this song, you're playing D major. So to play the verse of Boat on the River, you've got your G minor, F chord, and the D chord. And it's a simple 4-bar kind of repeating pattern. You use the D chord in the first rotation of the chorus. You don't use it in the second. So the verse, not the chorus, goes like this. mean, I've been playing guitar a long time. I haven't been playing mandolin a long time, but that F chord can be a little tough to get to. So a lot of times what I'll do, especially if the people I'm playing with are playing at a faster tempo than I'm comfortable with, instead of playing the traditional F chord, I'll play an F major 7th, which changes the bass note. You drop it from a C to an A, but you still get the flavor. And if you're playing with a bass player, especially who's alternating with the 5th, playing F and C in the bass line, you don't really need the extra C chord or the C note, so you can get away very easily, and that's a lot easier to change to. Sounds a little bit different, but like I said, if you're playing with other people, it's very unnoticeable. It lets you change the chord faster. You don't have to, you have to move your hand a little bit, and since I play sloppy, it changes things and still difficult, but you don't have to get that pinky out there. So then that takes us to the chorus, and the chorus has a few more chords in it. It's a little more intricate. It starts with an F chord, uses the same G minor in there, uses the D, of course, but it also throws in a C, right? So remember, backwards from the bottom of a guitar, you play a C chord on a guitar, it would look like this, so it's backwards on the mandolin, right? And an A chord, which is like an F, is hard to get to quickly, and it kind of looks like a little bar chord. Right? So remember, this is your A, right? E, this is your E string. So up here on the 5th fret of the E string is your A, then the 3rd, then the 5th, and the root again. Now, one of the things that the chorus does is in the middle, it switches from C major chord to a C minor chord. Now, to get a minor, of course, you know, G major, you drop the 3rd, G minor. Same thing. Here's the 3rd. So it would make sense that you would drop the 3rd 1 fret, half step, from E to E flat. But your top string is an E. So if you're going to do it that way, which is admittedly the lazy way, this is not the full 4-string C minor chord, but it's a lot easier to play, it's a lot faster to fret, and it sounds really cool because you get that movement more in the bass where you're doing your strumming. So the chorus moves from F to D to G, then to C. Then you hit the C minor. You got to remember to mute out the high E. I usually just do it with my sloppy technique. Right? Then back to the G minor. Then the hard one, the A, then D. The transition from C to C minor to G to A is the really only tricky place in the song. You've got whoops, sorry, forgot, G minor. So you can take advantage of that going from the G minor to the A. You can take advantage of the strum pattern by throwing your first finger down so you can go to the G minor to the A. You can throw your first finger down to get the bass note and then catch up with the rest of your hand. Right, so to play it a little more smoothly, the chorus, again, Boat on the River, it goes D, C, C minor, that's the verse and the chorus. I'll run them together real quick so you can just kind of follow along. So then basically what you need to do is go back, listen to the song, figure out where the verses start, figure out where the choruses start. There's a solo in there that Tommy Shaw plays on the mandolin. It's interesting, not terribly intricate. You use the same two patterns, one of the two patterns under the solo. Use your ears, your brain to figure it out. It's not that hard. And then the end of the song just kind of goes back between G and F. G minor and F. That's where it's an easy place to use that F with the A and the bass instead of playing the C. And on the last time he throws in the D. Right? So the only other part of the song is the intro. So we can use the same G and G minor shape, right? And we're just going to take it up the neck. So we're going to start with the G shape with the middle finger on the A string at the 5th fret, which puts your ring finger on the E string at the 6th fret. You're going to use the two low open strings, and then it moves the bottom fretted note moves up one fret, but the top fretted note moves up a full step. So you're using the G minor shape. Then back to the first one. Then you drop the whole thing 1 fret. Then do it again. Drop to the G minor and do what is probably in the song the only thing that sounds really mandolin-y, which is you leave out the bass note on the strum after the first one and you do a little hammer on. Right? So that's the only thing in the song that really sounds mandolin specific. So to do the intro and into the, so I'll do the intro, I'll do one verse, I'll do one chorus, and then I'll wrap this. So there you go. That's Styx's Boat on the River, mandolin played by Tommy Shaw. Remember, Tommy Shaw's a guitar player. Guitar players, as a kind of a stereotype tend to play the laziest way possible, because especially somebody like Tommy Shaw, who's singing, playing, running a band, you know, now that he's the front man for Styx, doing something the hard way every time is playing hard, not smart. So you got to play smart. Even somebody with chops like, you know, Paul Gilbert is still going to do things the easiest way possible. So don't hesitate to take that hard to shape quickly F chord, especially if you're not an experienced mandolin player, and substitute the easier shape variant of it, right, with the A in the bass instead of the C. And once again, like I said, it's especially okay if you've got other people playing with you. You've got a guitarist playing the root notes on an acoustic guitar. You got a bass player alternating back and forth between F and C, playing the fifths, which is very typical for this kind of folky song. Then nobody's going to notice, and nobody's going to care, and you're going to sound awesome anyways. And if you're singing over top of it, which I didn't do because, number one, I'm not that great of a singer, and number two, I wanted to focus on this. Especially if you're singing over it, nobody's going to notice, and only a real nerd is going to go, oh, he played an F chord with an A in the bass instead of the C, and oh my God, that's horrifying, and Tommy Shaw would roll over. Well, he's not dead, so he can't roll over in his grave, but you know what I mean. Anyways, thanks for playing, and when I learn another song on the mandolin that I think you guys will enjoy, I'll be back with another video. Take it easy.